I'm not the biggest fan of Tim Sweeney, the guy behind Epic Games. Personally, I've had my run-ins with him in the past, but I will always defend what I feel like is right. And in this case, I fall on the side of agreeing with Tim Sweeney because the Journo Mafia is out to get him. And every time you hear they say you don't hate journals enough, let this be a good reminder for you. PC Gamer on X. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney argues banning Twitter over its ability to AI generate that image of that is just gatekeeping, attempting to censor all of their political opponents. This is one of those describe a movie badly type headlines. Tim Sweeney comes in to reply before I even get into that. He says, "This is a vile lie by PC Gamer. I criticize a government official for pressuring Apple and Google to block a speech app owned by their political opponent, deplatforming 500 million users on the pretense of stopping a small number of users from distributing disgusting content." So he at least was able to reply and give his side of the story. But that doesn't stop the Journal Mafia from pushing a narrative of what they imply, he said. This is the article that he had an issue with. It says, Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney argues banning Twitter over its ability to AI generate prawn images of minors is just gatekeeping, attempting to, quote, censor all of their political opponents. Not a hill I'd die on, but I'm not a billionaire. I don't think Tim Sweeney's a billionaire either. He's very rich, but I don't know if he's a billionaire. As reported by Eurogamer, Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney took to X to criticize an attempt by U.S. lawmakers to ban a social media app and its accompanying generative AI tool, Grok. The move came after users discovered that Elon Musk's Grok had the ability to take photos of real people, including minors, and produce images of them undressed or in otherwise compromising positions, flooding the site with such content. And again, journals always use this word to make it sound as bad as possible. This is not an endorsement for doing this because I wholeheartedly disagree with AI pushing any of this. But I feel like this is, again, describing a situation badly. They're not nude. They're not putting them in positions of stuff like that. But it is not something I'd agree with either. But again, they're trying to make it as bad as possible to push their perspective and try to convince people to believe what they're saying. Reason number 42 for open platforms to shut down every politician's incessant demands to all gatekeepers to censor all of their political opponents. Maybe I misread it. I'm not seeing anything about child stuff or minors or anything like that. I'm just seeing him saying that this is a reason for them to gatekeep. What the hell are they talking about? Quote, all major AIs have documented incidents of going off the rails, Sweeney continued in a follow-up tweet. All major AI companies make their best efforts to combat this. I'd agree with this. None are perfect. True. Politicians demand gatekeepers selectively crush the ones that their political opponent's company is basic crony capitalism. Oh, like how Keir Starmer in the UK and Anthony Albanese in Australia are coming after X right now, but they're perfectly fine with Blue Sky, perfectly fine with Facebook, perfectly fine with every other social media platform and Threads and all that. But X is a bad one, even though all the other AIs can do the same thing. AI going off guardrails is not the same as actively excusing content for PDF, wrote Remap and former Waypoint editor Patrick Klepek in response. Your priorities as someone in charge of a company that makes a video game catering to young people are completely off. 404 Media's report from January 5th at the beginning of the saga offers illustrative examples of Grok's newly discovered. Again, this is starting to distract from what the conversation was to what Grok is doing to people. That none of this was what Tim Sweeney was saying in his conversation. So they're extrapolating what he said to be like, oh, it applies to all the things that Grok does now. Even though Tim Sweeney is like, yeah, AI is not perfect, and they're trying to better it and adjust it with the guardrails of it, which is the same thing I would say. The great abuse in this stuff, the rain, defines this CSAM as, holy crap, again, trying to paint Tim Sweeney as like a target on his back, enemy number one of the journals, from a simple tweet that had nothing to do with any of this. This is particularly galling in the face of actual politically motivated censorship Sweeney is overseen on the platform that helps make him a billionaire. Back in December, the Epic Games Store followed Steam's lead in banning the art game Horses for hazy reasons, an outgrowth of the pressure placed on payment processing companies by conservative activist group to censor transgressive art and legal porn on the internet. Given the opportunity, Sweeney appears eager to defend an unprecedented online sexual humiliation machine. So you see how these journals act with this, because they're all the one brain. It's bad. This is horrible. We need to ban it. They want to push their ideology everywhere. And if they can put guardrails on anything else, they will do it. But God forbid it comes for anything they stand for. What if the guardrails were for like, it shouldn't be trans? What if people are saying it shouldn't be trans? I wonder how PC Gamer would feel if that's what Tim Sweeney was saying. I bet it would be a very different tune, because that lines up ideologically with them. And then you see the Journo Mafia working in coordination with each other, because we come over to the gamer. Tim Sweeney tries to clarify Grok comments, continues to defend Twitter. Oh, written by Rhiannon Bevan. Wait a second. Rhiannon is on Kotaku Detected on SmashJT.com. Chief reporter of the Gamer wrote hit piece on Black Myth Wukong stating developer accused of sexist, unprofessional work culture. Painted former Sweet Baby Inc. employee Grant Roberts in a glowing light. Journal claims Dragon Age fans are sorry now. Cites random Reddit post. So she seems like a really upstanding journal. I'm sure this is going to be very genuine and from the heart. Over the weekend, Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney waded into the conversation about Grok, Twitter's AI bot that is currently generating non-consensual, explicit images of others, particularly women and children. So the same thing that people have been able to do with Photoshop for the past 3 decades, and it's been happening, but no one seemed to care about it. To combat this, lawmakers around the world are considering taking action against Twitter until the issue is addressed. So far, Indonesia and Malaysia have banned Grok specifically, with the UK currently considering its own solution, not ruling out a complete ban of Twitter. However, Tim Sweeney took issue with this. Instead, he accused lawmakers of only wanting Twitter banned so they can censor all their political opponents. Yes, I agree with him. That is exactly what they're doing. I would go so far as to say, if you don't think that's what's happening, you're retarded. He argued that all AI models have issues with users generating illegal material such as CSAM, which, again, if it exists, and I'm sure it does, because if you can pick it up on the internet, it's going to show up. I personally have not seen it, but I'm sure if people try hard enough, they'll get something that can look like what that is, suggesting that Grok shouldn't be singled out, which is true. If you're going to single out Grok for that, why would you not single out the other ones and group them together if they all do it? If you can do it on ChatGPT, if you can do it on Claude, if you can do it on all these other ones, why Grok? Unless you have an axe to grind with Elon Musk. And again, wokey journos with the nose rings and the mafia that they're in, the severe TDS, they all hate Elon Musk. They don't care about reality or the truth. They are driven by their ideology. So they can't see the forest for the trees of what's actually happening right now because they hate Elon Musk so much. Sweeney is taking issue with how his comments are being reported in news outlets, specifically PC Gamer. PC Gamer's summary of the situation is all this that we went over. Sweeney, however, was not a fan of his own words repeated back to him, and he decided to attack the publication in an attempt to clarify what he really meant. This is, again, like describe a movie badly. No, he just reiterated what he said, and PC Gamer extrapolated something that had nothing to do with what he said, saying, well, if you said this, well, you clearly meant this other thing. It's like, no, he didn't say that other thing. The hell are you talking about? This is a vile lie by PC Gamer. He says, I criticize a government official for pressuring Apple and Google. Yep, 100%. Again, Sweeney's defense of Twitter was specifically in relation to Grok controversy. I cannot see into the hearts and minds of the politicians calling for Twitter ban. So perhaps this is only a pretense to get rid of an app they don't like. But it could be argued that Twitter has given them plenty of reasons to do this in the past, like the spread of the unchecked abuse and bigotry, with white supremacy running rampant on the platform. How would you know if you're on Blue Sky all the time? Curious. Almost like you just don't like Elon Musk, so you left Twitter and want to say the worst things about it all the time. What the fuck does this even mean? White supremacy running rampant on the platform? As opposed to not on Facebook or Blue Sky? Like, what in the context of what we're talking about right now, why would you even write that? And of course, something does need to be done about Grok being used to generate CSAM. I agree with this, 100%. And non-consensual sexual images of adults. What is a non-consensual sexual image? That's where there's a massive, massive disagreement with people. So yes, I don't know anyone that would disagree with this one. I'm on board. I'd argue that everyone's on board. No one wants to see Sam in this shit. Yes, get it out, 100%. How is a bikini sexual for an adult? A bikini is what you wear to the beach. How is it sexual? Sounds like a you problem. In fact, I even took to Twitter. See this guy? That's me. Someone put me in a bikini. Oh my God. Oh no, what am I going to do? That's Keir Starmer. I look a lot better than Keir Starmer does. I'll put it that way. I said, do not allow them to gaslight you. ChatGPT. Are bikinis sexual? Short answer, not inherently. A bikini by itself is not sexual. It's a common form of swimwear used in a normal, everyday context like beaches, pools, sports, and vacations. So I would like to have a conversation with the gamer and Rian Bevan and ask her what is sexual about putting someone in a bikini. Sounds like a you problem. If the ban's being processed, go ahead and then lift if Twitter gets a grip on the situation. Then political opponents will hardly be censored. Just their ability to generate abusive material. Now it's abusive. Memes are abusive, guys. Funny pictures are abusive. I can't with these people. There's a lot of people that don't like Tim Sweeney, by the way, and are just agreeing with the journos because they don't like him. And again, I'm not the biggest fan of him either, but I'm not going to just attack him because I don't like him. It's like, no, he's right in this situation. And to be piled on by the wokey journal mafia is unfair to him. BS. It's exactly what they always do. Very curious how that always seems to happen. I'll keep you guys posted on any updates on this, but for now, I'll leave that one right there.